This is the Vulture, Dustin Urich, the Rocky Mountain Pro Heavyweight Champion. If you want to hear about all the best in pro wrestling news, if you want to hear about the best breakfast, listen to the E's and B's podcast. And if you don't, the Vulture is going to carve you up.
Happy Halloween, all you wrestling and sports fans. This is the E's and B's, the Bacon and Eggs of Pro Wrestling Sports podcast. Here's your host, Eddie B. Happy Halloween! Welcome back to this wonderful Friday. Glad to have all you listeners back on this fantastic last Friday of October as we've been celebrating Halloween Havoc all month long. We have a special lineup today. You better get your reservations. Call ahead seating only. That's right. Great Friday for you. We got the watch along to talk about with my best friend Brian. We've got Halloween Havoc for NXT, MMA meshing with AEW Jake Hagar last night. We've also got Hell in the Cell to talk about, Bound for Glory to talk about, and all of the great sports stuff that you've missed, and everything coming up for next month. So stay tuned. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. I'm your host, Eddie B. 8 more Fridays left in this year, guys. That's counting it down really close. That's 8 more great breakfasts you can have with me here at the E's and B's podcast. Excited to have you back this week. We've got a lot of stuff, like I said, but as we're diving into the sunny side up. Well, listeners, this week on the Sunny Side Up, we've got a whole plate full of things. Before we dive into that, I want to let you guys know this week's podcast is sponsored by Vinny's Vinyls. That's right, Vinny's Vinyls. Find him on Facebook at Vinny's Vinyls, or you can email him at vinny'svinyls32gmail.com for all your vinyl needs. I can vouch for him myself. He's definitely hooked us up with some great stuff, and we cannot wait to get some more from him in the future. So for all your vinyls needs, look him up. That's Vinny Vinyls. Well, folks, NASCAR took him 72 hours to complete it, but they finally got it off. The Texas winner is Kyle Busch, and that's right. He finally gets the monkey off of his back. Can you believe that? Finally getting the monkey off his back. Has not won a race all year long. Last year's champion, didn't make the playoffs, but he finally knocks the monkey off his back in Texas here on Wednesday of this week. With that being said, there's one race left this round, and it's Martinsville, the short track. That's my favorite, at least one of my favorites. Short track and racing is going to be probably the roughest of the series. And if you like checkers or wreckers, you better check this race out this Sunday at Martinsville. Right now, the bottom 4 are Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch and Truex are in a must-win situation, so the wreckers and checkers are definitely going to be in play for them guys. As far as Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, and Brad Keselowski, they're right now going forward to Phoenix in the finals as points, but Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski could have a bad week, and we could have a switch in the points as far as Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. So keep a close eye on that. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I wouldn't even say that Kevin Harvick's safe because he's not. So it's going to be a good race. Martinsville this week, and then Phoenix to wrap it up their season next week. We'll talk about that next week in November. Wow, hard to believe October's pretty much over. We've been celebrating Halloween Havoc all month. And like I said at the beginning, we did a watch-along this week. Me and my best friend, we did Halloween Havoc 93. You can find it on Patreon. If you're a Patreon member, you get early access and all of the good stuff, especially the free items that are coming to you. Also, you'll get to be the first ones to see the unboxing videos where me and my wife Lauren give away a lot of cool stuff there. So check us out, easembees.com, Patreon up in the left-hand corner, or follow us on all of the media outlets. Moving into the Bubble World Series. That's right. The Dodgers are now your Bubble World Series champions. Corey Seager, MVP. But what I really want to talk about, folks, is Turner getting pulled in the 8th inning due to a positive COVID-19 test. It wasn't so much that he got pulled. It was the fact that after they won, Turner returned to the field to celebrate with his teammates and his wife or girlfriend or what it may be. I'm not sure. But, I mean, we've been preaching for how long, folks, about what to do and what not to do when you have this virus. And I don't care if you're a professional baseball player, football player, basketball. It doesn't matter. Just because you're that doesn't give you the right to go out and hang around with these people. You've obviously tested positive, and the rules are stay away. And in my opinion, this is a black eye for the MLB and a double black eye for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let me know what you think out there in the E's and B's land, but I'm totally against it. I think it's ridiculous that they couldn't hold him from coming to the field. Listen, I understand it's the World Series. You may never ever get back there again. The Dodgers haven't won since '88. Yada yada yada. But you're putting people's lives at risk. I know. Afterhand, they've been tested and flown back. Him and his wife flown separately. But we all know how this thing works. It doesn't come back right away. It could be a week from now, and that whole team could be infected because he had to get his pictures with that trophy. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Anyways, moving on, guys. We haven't talked about it in a while. Let's talk about it now. That's right. Week 7 of the NFL. They're back and rolling almost halfway through the season. And there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. Injuries, like I reported last week, are still on the rise. And I want to start off with an injury. The Washington Redskins put it on the Dallas Cowboys 25-3. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is Andy Dalton just about getting decapitated. The Washington Redskins laid a hit on him, gave him a concussion. He was obviously out for the rest of the game, maybe even out going forward. Rumor on the streets is that they're looking for maybe another quarterback and Fitzpatrick in mind. I don't think so. Fitzpatrick's doing just fine mentoring where he's at. I'd hate to lose him to the star, that's for sure. I hope he's not down to do that, but he is down to play. We did see that in his press conference, after he was told that he was no longer going to be the starter. He was heartbroken, and I understand where he's coming from. Anyhow, moving on, we're not going to talk about every game, but we are going to talk about a few big ones that were pretty cool and surprising, like the Steelers still staying undefeated as they beat the Titans 27-24. My 72 Dolphins, man, just one more team is got to lose, and they can pop that champagne. But let's not cut the Steelers short here. They are a good squad, and that division's very tough right now with the Ravens and the Browns playing good. Could possibly have 3 teams in the playoffs this year. We'll see. I'm not a firm believer on the Browns, but let me know what you think out there. Next up is the Browns. They squeaked out a close one over Joe Burrow's Bengals. But the story is Beckham Jr. out for the year with the ACL tear. Pretty big hit, if you ask me. That takes them out of the playoff hunt, in my opinion. Landry is a hell of a receiver, one of my favorite all time. He's just a great, great guy, has great hands. I wish he was still in Miami, but I don't think he's enough to get him over the hump, him and Higgins. It's going to be questionable for them moving forward. Let me know what you guys think. After that, we have the Lions getting a last-second win over, I'm sorry to all the Falcon fans out there. That's right. The Falcons are still winless. They have been in almost every single game this year, but maybe one. They've been leading. They've had everything but the win. And the Lions pull out the win. And I'm sorry, ATL, but maybe next week. So, pretty great game there, 23-22, really close. The next game I'm going to talk about is just a little slap in the face to some of these fans, and that's the 49ers. After getting demolished by the Dolphins, they come back and they put it on the New England Patriots 33-6. And now Cam Newton is looking at a 2-4 record. First time the Patriots have had a losing record in a very long time, and I'm starting to believe that Bill Belichick isn't as good as they said he was. Or are we thinking maybe Cam wasn't the right person to fit there in New England? I bet they're wishing they still had that number 12 now, because he's making it look good somewhere else. Let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely not a Patriots fan, but I think it's hilarious, and I do think that their reign is over, and I think that this is the start of the end of dominance in New England. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Miami fan. I'm saying that because I'm seeing it. Last game I'm going to talk about here was another great barn burner between two outstanding quarterbacks. Arizona getting the win in overtime over Seattle, 37-34. Fitzgerald put the team on his back, got a big first down in order to make this win happen, but just a great game, and they're in the same division as well, so NFL is shaping up in a few spots to be very interesting, and a few other spots not as much. Other winners include this week was the Bills, Saints, Packers, Tampa Bay, Chargers, Chiefs, and the Rams. Quick side story here for you, or a couple quick side stories here. Trade deadline is approaching really quick, guys. November 3rd. It's going to be here before we know it. It'll actually be here next week. So, big trades coming this weekend possible. Let me know what trades you want to see, what trades you're wishing for, and what trades would make the biggest impact. Also on side stories, hey, it's not Miller time, it's Tua time. That's right, Tua gonna get his start against the Los Angeles Rams this week. I'm super stoked. I can't wait to see how he matches up against, we know, one of the best defensive players in Donaldson. But let me know what you guys think out there in E's and B's land. And last, topping off here in the NFL world, guys, Antonio Brown, the troublemaker, is back, and he's back with a familiar face in Tampa Bay. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm not a big Brown fan, and honestly, he's going to a team that doesn't really need him. They're talented enough. They're obviously doing well without him, but this might put them over the top. What do you guys think? Follow us at easybees.com. Comment below. Follow all the videos. Sign up at Patreon for all the free gifts, merchandise, and early access. Guys, next month we got a bunch of cool stuff coming. I'll talk a little bit later on the toast about that. Also, here coming up on the scrambled egg segment later on, guys, Lauren and I will be doing a Halloween giveaway. That's right, a Halloween giveaway. So stay tuned and make sure you check into that, because there's going to be some cool stuff possibly coming your way. Well, as we're winding down the sunny side up here, guys and girls, we want to talk a couple wrestling stories, and then we will jump right into the meat segment, where this week in the meat, we're going to talk about Shocktober coming up tonight in Denver, as well as we're also going to touch back on last weekend's Hell in the Cell and this past Wednesday's Return of the Halloween Havoc for NXT. That's on the meat segment coming up here shortly. But as we're winding down here on the sunny side up, guys, Bound for Glory last Saturday was not a bad pay-per-view for Impact. Several cool things came out of it. Rhino winning the gauntlet match, now giving his buddy Heath another shot to get a contract there in Impact. What the real story of the gauntlet match was Tommy Dreamer giving the tribute to the late and great Animal. He came out with a head shaved, makeup and all, looking fantastic. God bless you, Tommy Dreamer. And he also pulled it off again this week on Wednesday when he faced Brian Myers in a hardcore match with some candy corn. If you haven't seen that, check that out. We love you, Tommy Dreamer. That was awesome, and I think that he would definitely appreciate that, Animal, as I speak. Moose gets his belt back from EC3 in a violence affair. Hey, Ken Shamrock, not only inducted to the Impact Hall of Fame, he also sneaks a win over Eddie Edwards with a little bit of help from Sami Calhoun. I just want to say, though, Ken Shamrock's he's in very great shape for his age, guys. He probably could beat some of the lower card MMA fighters out there. That's my opinion. Su Yung replaces Kylie Ray and wins the Knockouts Championship. Crazy there. That suits the Halloween theme for sure, Su Yung. the North knocking off 3 other teams in a 4-way tag match to regain their tag titles. But the story of the night for Bound for Glory was, my opinion, returning comeback wrestler of the year, Rich Swann, wins his title back over Eric Young. Can't say enough good things about him. I'm so glad to see him back in the squared circle. And on top of that, this Wednesday, he also, he put up and showed that he's not a punk once again as he got attacked by Eric Young, but still prevailing to hold his title high and show the world that anything's possible from big injuries, that if you put the work in, you can definitely come back and big things can still happen, and he proved that. So big props out there to Rich Swann. Like I said, my comeback wrestler of the year, in my opinion. Hey, as we're, like I said, winding down the sunny side up, I just want to talk about one more thing, and that was AEW Dynamite this week. Boys, they did another good show. A couple bad things, not too bad. We won't pick on them or nothing like that. We'll just talk about it, each match here real quick, but a very, very solid show in my opinion. So in my opinion, this was one of the better starts they've had in a while, and that was Hangman Page and Wardlow. That's right, the number 1 contender tournament continued this week with 2 more matches determined in the finals, and Hangman and Wardlow really, they had me on my edge of my seat. They started out hot and heavy, and Wardlow put it on him really, really heavy. But Hangman hung in there, and he got the win to move on to the finals, which I kind of predicted from the get-go. But I'll give it to Wardlow. He's coming along very, very well. In my opinion, he's getting there, and it won't be long, and I think he's going to be a big-time guy to talk about. After that, they had the Eddie King. Well, actually, they had Moxley doing his little promo on Eddie Kingston and their friendship. Pretty interesting. You should check that out because they're 2 of the better promos out there right now in wrestling. But Eddie Kingston, after coming to the ring, said his piece and then had a match where he got the win over Matt Sydal. What I want to talk about was the end of it. He literally used Moxley's finish and pretended as if he was doing it to Moxley. So shots fired for Full Gear. That's going to be a great pay-per-view. I cannot wait. After that, it was the long-awaited MJF, Chris Jericho, and the Inner Circle Town Hall meeting, which I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but after watching the first minute or 2 of it, I liked it. It was very entertaining. It wasn't childish or too far funny, if you know what I mean. What they did is Shivani and Dasha hosted it. They separated the guys, and they brought in guest people to ask questions. And, of course, many of the questions one of them were silly or stupid, but when they brought in Eric Bischoff, that's when things changed. He got serious with them. He asked some serious kind of questions. In my opinion, he hit the spot and literally opened my eyes to something I wasn't thinking about. But all in all, it was a great little skit, but how it ended was even better. And what we got out of it is MJF versus Chris Jericho at Full Gear. If MJF wins, he's in. Or if he does not win, too bad, so sad. And afterwards, Sammy and Ortiz got up in his face and let him know that if he's not going to get by just that easy, that next week him and Wardlow are facing them 2 in a tag match. So that should be very interesting to see because I haven't seen MJF and Wardlow in a tag match. Can't wait to see that. After that, we got into the TNT Championship, which is a repeat match. Cody versus Orange Cassidy, but this time they turned it into a lumberjack match and pretty much just like any other lumberjack match, we have the heels on one side, faces on the other, but throughout this match, which was very entertaining, Orange Cassidy twisted it up, did some things that we didn't think he would do. He stayed away from the stuff that we expected him to do. But what caught my eye was Trent putting his 2 cents in and sucker punching Cody. A little bit later on, as some things went down on the outside and stuff like that, come to a point to where Orange Cassidy was dog laying over the ropes, and actually he got sucker punched by Arn Anderson. Now, after the match was over, Cody did contain his title. Things got a little out of hand as a rumble broke out, but the Gun Club cleared house. And now, this week coming up, we're going to have the Gun Club and Cody versus Colt Cabana and 2 other Dork Order people. Should be interesting. After that, they had the new NWA champion, Sarah Deeb, who has been very impressive here lately on AEW, but now she's the champion of NWA, so really cool. Now, this match, I normally, not a huge fan of women's wrestling. I'll watch it. This match I loved. Just because Sarah Deeb is very good, but this legit Leia Hirsch, she's a little short girl, kind of reminds you of Jordynne Grace from Impact. A little power lifter girl, but she is actually an amateur wrestler. She was great. And this was a good match. Sarah keeps her title, but if you like women's wrestling, this was the women's match of the month for AEW, in my opinion. And that goes far for them, because they don't have very many good ones, so kind of makes sense that I'm saying that it's obviously two girls that really aren't even in AEW. After that, Shawn Spears gets a very quick win over VSK, but Scorpio Sky was throwing candy at him from the crowd in a bull mask. Spears did not know this. He pulled the man into the ring, asked for his metal plate from Tully, and was going to give him the punch, but as Tully's given the plate, the mask comes off, and what do you know? It's Scorpio Sky. These two have a little feud going on, saying each other have stolen the limelight from each other. Going to be interesting to see how this thing turns out. That's for sure. Hey guys, don't forget to follow us at easeandbees.com and on Patreon, where you can get everything early and often. Like I said, we're winding things down here on the sunny side up. The main event was Kenny Omega versus Penta El Zero M from the Lucha Brothers. Match I thought would be a little bit better than what it was. It started out very slow. They got the chest slap going back and forth. Omega kept his shirt on for a few minutes and then revealed the AAA title to rub it in Rey Fenix's face. It was a good match, but let's be honest. Once we saw Adam Hangman Page win at the beginning of the show, it was signed, sealed, delivered that we were going to have the ex-teammates battling at Full Gear for the first time. It's going to be very interesting. Should be the match of the night, in my opinion, because as much as I love Chris Jericho, I just don't see him and MJF setting the world on fire. I feel like MJF's just going to have to slow his game down and stuff like that, unfortunately. I can't wait to see MJF and Sammy. I think that would be a solid match, in my opinion. Definitely a great show on AE Dynamite, and I'll admit that, like I said, a few small errors in there, but they're building up to what could be one of their better pay-per-views of this year's, in this crazy year that we've been in. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week and going forward, because we know we are just 1 week away from their pay-per-view there at AEW. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the Sunny Side Up. Stay tuned. Like I said, we got a couple topics to talk about on the meat. It's the meat segment! Like I said, guys, we got a couple great topics here on the meat segment this week. I want to talk about Shocktober, Hell in a Cell, and NXT Halloween Havoc. If you're wondering why we haven't talked very much WWE, well, that's why, because we're going to dive in a little bit more here in the meat segment. But before we dive into the big boys, let's talk about the local boys. That's right, Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling going down tonight. The Beerstomp Lager House in Denver, folks. They are putting on Shocktober. Several great matches, I might say, on the card tonight. It's going to be the Lockette's title on the line between Allie, Lilith, and Rachel. We'll see who wins that vacant title. As you know, we had Lilith on a couple weeks ago, so maybe pulling for her. But hey, no favoritism here. We love them all. Hopefully they put on a great display. Also, 2 titles going face-to-face. Jumbo versus Bronson. They're going to put both their titles against each other. That should be a great match. Stay tuned. Jumbo is the guest of the week next week here on the Ease and Bees podcast. So maybe we'll be able to talk about him having both titles or whatever else he wants to talk about. Also, JK Pop, the Open Challenge, going to put their tag titles on early in the show tonight, as well as Bruce Wayne putting his title up against the man, Yaden. Should be interesting. We've had Yaden on here the very first, and hopefully someday soon we'll have Bruce Wayne. But what I want to talk about is the main event, my man, the champ, Dustin Urich. That's right. Had him on last week. We talked a little bit about this. He's going to be going up against the Colorado Cup winner, Sweet Johnny Zudo. Should be interesting. He had a few things to say about it, but I'll be interested to see how that turns out. If you guys want to catch it, follow Rocky Mountain on Twitch, where you can check this event out live tonight as long as you become a member with them on Twitch. Or if you're local here in Colorado and you want to see some live action, I'm sure there's still some tickets available. So go to Rocky Mountain Pro's website, and they'll guide you how to get your tickets and see them. Or follow them on Twitch, like I said, and you can watch all of their live events as they happen right there on Twitch. Man, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun to see. I've been anticipating this for the whole month, and we've had some issues pushing it back, but it's finally going down. I know my boy Dustin's excited. We're going to be having him on as a co-host. Yeah, that's right. First co-host next month. The champion Dustin Urich will be me for the whole episode. That's right. I'm going to bounce some sports questions off of him, and we'll probably talk a little bit, obviously, some wrestling. Next up, folks, let's dive into the second portion of the meat segment here, guys, and it's Hell in a Cell. If you guys missed this pay-per-view last Sunday, please go back and check it out. Going forward, I won't say that every time, but I will say it because there was several messages in this pay-per-view that hit home. And right off the bat, it was the family match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso in the I Quit Hell in a Cell. This was a brawl, but I think we all knew going into this that Roman Reigns is the better fighter, the better wrestler, and the bigger man, and like he likes to say, the head of the table. It kind of gave you just a little bit of hope that Jey Uso might win, but we kind of had the idea where they're going with this. But what we didn't see was after the match, when Roman Reigns gets Jey Uso to finally say, I quit, or his brother to say he quits. Roman gets the lay at the top of the ramp from his family, and that's basically stating to me that they're turning the reins over, saying, you are now the head of the family. And if you all want to think about it, there's something missing here. That's right. The biggest name to ever come out of that family? Yeah, he might make movies, but he's still a wrestler. That's right, folks, The Rock. And I think they're passing the torch a little too soon, because I could see something down the line, maybe next year, where The Rock steps in and says, oh, you forgot who made this family more famous, and that's me. So maybe we'll see that. Let me know what you think out there in E's and B's land. I think it's going to be interesting going forward to see what the next story is going to be. It was just a great match to watch. After that, they had Elias and Jeff Hardy. Elias gets the win with a DQ. That storyline is a little different, and it seems like everybody now is wanting a piece of Elias, so we'll wait and see how that thing turns out. That was one of the more down matches of this card, in my opinion. Not a bad little skit match, whatever you want to call it, but it was something that I could have fast-forwarded through. After that, we had something surprising happen. That's right. Miz wins the Money in the Bank match over Otis. But the reason that we're a little confused is Otis's buddy, Tucker, hits him over the head with the lunch pail, therefore allowing Miz to get the win. Now we have mass confusion. Things have hit the fan. As you've seen this week, people don't know what's going to happen. But I want to know what you guys think. Should they be breaking these two up and pushing Otis a little bit more? Or should we just start leaning back towards they were a great tag team and that's what it is? Let me know what you guys think. Next, we had another Hell in the Cell match, and it was a banger. That's right, my favorite match of the night. And I know you guys heard me talk about it a little bit earlier, how I said women's wrestling is not my most favorite. But I want to say on this night, it was. Because Sasha and Bayley, they took it to the house. They had a great match, told a awesome story, and they've definitely opened a new chapter to what we're about to see between these two ex-friends. And if you don't know, let me just tell you, we have a new women's champion, and it's Sasha Banks. She ended Bayley's 388-day reign. Wow, amazing. But like I said, I'm more interested into the next chapter and where they're taking us going forward. It's going to be outstanding. After that, they had another throw-in match, guys, and I'm just here to say I'm over Retribution. Chalk it up as a loss. Cut it out. Ali isn't a good talent. I know he's an athletic guy. He's too short. He was never believable from the get-go, and all of his little suckers with him, it's just too much. And they're getting their butts kicked every week by the Hurt Business. So what is so intimidating of these guys? It baffles me. And we have a match here where Lashley beats Slapjack. I'm over it. I'm over it, folks. What about you guys? What do you think about Retribution? Do they keep pushing them, or you like me? Let's push them to the curb and let the trash pick them up, because I'm done with Retribution. Rounding out the Hell in the Cell, folks, it was the main event between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. Another Hell in the Cell match, like I said. Who would have saw it? And new champion Randy Orton getting the win over Drew McIntyre. This story takes another great turn, and now I'm not too sure if Drew McIntyre wins this title back, if it means that much more. Now, he's beat a few people. He's had a nice little run, for 8 months, 9 months it's been. 10 months, whatever you want to say. But, I feel bad for him because the no crowd deal really puts a damper on his title reign and his title run. But in my opinion, they're better off with the belt around Randy Orton. He's just a bigger face, a bigger draw. And in my opinion, when the heel is the champion, it brings in more fandom because you want to see that guy lose. You want that jerk that you want to slap in the face or punch in the nose. You want them to lose that much more when they're the champion, in my opinion. You're listening to the E's and B's podcast. Last Friday in October, guys, man. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. We've had so much great stuff. Stay tuned. Like I said, coming up on the Scrambled Egg segment, Lauren and we're dressed up. That's right. It's Halloween. Are you dressed up? Man, it's one of my daughter's favorite holidays, besides her birthday, obviously. But Lauren and I dressed up, and we're going to be doing a giveaway, Halloween style, right here on E's and B's. So make sure you follow directions, tune in, and you could win something cool. Well, guys, as we're winding down the meat segment, let's talk lastly here about the reoccurrence of my favorite, Halloween Havoc. That's right. NXT, it kind of is a slap in Cody's face in a way, but NXT brings back Halloween Havoc. They use Shotzi Blackheart as their host, which was perfect. Great job, NXT. Great job. From top to bottom was almost as good as their last takeover, if not better. It could have been a takeover, in my opinion. They had several great matches. They started the show out with Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal. Gargano and Damian Priest went at it. Gargano gets a little bit of help from the mysterious Scream character, and now is the new NA champion. Pat McAfee, he's got a new member to his squad, guys. That's right, Pat Doom joins Pat McAfee's little goon crew as he destroys Kyle O'Reilly with a chair. If you didn't see it, go back and watch it, because it's almost like they were going to fight Pat McAfee and his boys, and then bam, Pete lays the chair to Kyle's back. Pretty good stuff. I'm a fan of Pat. I think he brings a great element to NXT. They're steadily getting there, in my opinion, as far as keeping even with AEW week for week. After that, we had the Cruiserweight Championship. Santos Escobar gets the win over Atlas. It was just a blah match. He also had to have some help by his goons, but very cool look. He had the Rey Mysterio Halloween Havoc pants that Rey wore against Eddie Guerrero. If you haven't seen that, go back and check that out. I kind of like Santos. I just wish he was a little bit bigger or taller of a guy. Then they had the only thing I did not like about the whole performance of NXT's Halloween Havoc, and it was their cinematic match. It wasn't bad. It actually was pretty cool because it was horror themed, so it kind of looked like a horror movie in a way, but I just am not a Cameron Grimes guy. He was trying to sell his fear to everyone out there, and let me just tell you, it was overboard. They added a lot of CGI stuff. If you don't like it, I don't advise you to watch it, because it was the down part for me. I'm just a wrestling fan. I'm not a CGI cinematic match guy. I'm just not. Sorry. Let me know what you think out there in easyandbees.com. I want to know, if you think the cinematic stuff should continue, or let's just put the nail in the coffin with the Undertaker match. That's what I think, but let me know what you think. So they had that match. It carried on for 3 segments, went through one match, yada, yada, yada. Dexter Lumis gets the win, thank God, because I like him way better than obvious Cameron Grimes. After that, it was a badass women's fight. Rhea Ripley getting the win over Gonzalez, but man, them 2 chicks are tough. I would like to see them on the big brand. That's what I hope for someday soon. Them 2 girls on the big brand. I mean, honestly, them 2 girls are definitely the future of the women's division in WWE, in my opinion. You know, Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley aren't going to be around forever, but these 2 girls they started out green, but they've come a long way, and they look great, in my opinion. After that, we had the main event, and it was a very good main event. It was a table, ladder, and scares match between the champion Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae. Let me just say this. Candice LeRae is very good, but I did notice that she was selling the next move before it got there, kind of, if you know what I mean. I could read it. I could see that she was setting herself up for certain stuff, or she was watching Io Shirai a little too much, like knowing where she should be. It just as somebody that watches wrestling as much as I do, I could see it kind of. She wasn't selling in the right way, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. It was a good match. She obviously did not get the win, as Io Shirai contains her title by knocking her off a ladder onto another ladder from a very big height. What happened was the masked Scream character comes back in play again, but this time Shotzi Blackheart interferes and doesn't let her help, or him, whatever it is, and Io Shirai climbs the ladder and gets the win. And that was the Halloween Havoc from NXT. But like I said, folks, it was a great Halloween Havoc return. I'm not a huge fan of them kind of stealing Cody's thunder in a way with the Great American Bash earlier this year. Now this, we all know that was Dusty's stuff. Let's quit poking the bear, in my opinion. And guys, if you think that's right, then let me hear it in the comments section, because I don't think they should be doing that. I think that's just trying to start a fight with something that there's no reason to start a fight, He's no longer around. Why poke Cody with certain items like that? That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think on the easembees.com. That'll wrap up the meat segment, guys. Stay tuned. We got a great scrambled eggs segment coming up. Like I said, we're giving away Halloween stuff, so stay tuned.
Okay, fans. As promised, a Halloween special giveaway here at the E's and B's podcast. We've dressed up this week for Halloween for all you listeners out there. But first, let me introduce the Wildcat. That's Lauren. How's it going today, Lauren?
Good. How are you? Hello.
I'm doing great. And for those of you who don't know, I am Darby Allen.
And I'm a cat.
Yep. Wildcat. That's why we called you Wildcat.
Yep.
So today on the Scrambled Egg segment, Lauren, we've got a special Halloween giveaway. We got 4 items we're going to give away.
Yeah.
And Lauren and I have decided, along with the E's and B's team, that we want the 4 best Halloween costumes of a wrestler that you've dressed up in any time in your life.
Could be from any year, any age. We want to see them.
Yep, and you can put them in the comments below, or you can follow us at easembees.com and sign up on all of our pages there and send us an email at easembeespodcast@gmail.com. And we'll post them on our page for you guys and also send you some really cool stuff. So with that said, Lauren, let's show them what the first item's going to be. It's the Happy Halloween Papa Shango sticker that came in the Pro Wrestling Crate. Now, almost all these items actually came from the crate, but we are going to give them away special here today on the Halloween. So once again, it's the Papa Shango Happy Halloween sticker. If you want this, just send us a picture of your favorite Halloween wrestling costume of yourself at any point in your lifetime.
Or any pro wrestling costume person that you impersonated anytime.
All right, Lauren's going to show you the next item.
I'll take it out.
You can leave it in the bag.
Oh, okay, we'll leave it in the bag.
If you didn't
That's
see
fine.
the video, once again, this come from Pro Wrestling Crate. It is a Glacier full mask. It is not COVID compliant, exactly. So we do not advise you to wear it for COVID,
Do
but it
not
would be a
wear
very
it.
cool costume at some point.
Yep.
And if you're a Glacier fan, hey, send us your picture. You can easily win this. All right, Lauren, next we've got another great Halloween thing. It came in the Pro Wrestling Crate. It is the Cryptic Closet comic. Sorry about that. Cryptic Closet comic. Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
And it also comes with a coupon on the inside for 20% off some of their merchandise. So not only are you getting the comic, you're going to get the coupon. So it's 2 for 1 on this one. Once again, same rules apply. Just send your picture. And last, for the Halloween giveaway, we have our famous E's and B's podcast sticker. Limited supplies, folks. There's limited supplies of these. So once
We've
again,
sent some out to some of our winners.
well, we're having some pictures posted on the website very soon of our recent winners. But like I said, for these 4 items here, if you want to have one of these for free, all you got to do is send us a picture in the comments below. Or like I said, sign up at easeandbees.com and email us a picture. And we'll be mailing this to you very, very soon.
We want to see some of our fans dressed up. So let's see some Halloween costumes out there of some wrestlers.
Yes, we obviously dressed up for the occasion. We have some younger kids that love the occasion, so we always participate every year. We love it. All right, Lauren, with that being done, let's move on a little bit here in the Scrambled Eggs and talk a little bit about a few things that's happened and what your thoughts are on it. One, obviously, the sad news we got just a couple of days ago. Tracy Smothers passing away. Unfortunately, another wrestler down. He was a great guy, a very, very big locker room leader. We've seen so many tributes here in the last couple of days towards him. And I know Lauren doesn't know very much about him, but I grew up around him, or grew up watching him, I should say. He was a very, very talented guy. And I know, like I said, there's very, very many people out there that respected him on the lower indie scenes. And he has been a mentor to several, one being Eddie Kingston, who we saw Wednesday night, kind of give a little tribute to. But not to bring everything all the way down, let's talk a little bit about one of my favorite MMA wrestler or fighters that's going to be retiring tomorrow night on Halloween. It's his last fight, Lauren, and you know a little bit about him. It's the Spider, Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
What do you think about his last fight coming into Saturday night?
I don't know. Well, he is getting kind of up there in age, so he probably should retire. But I hope he wins. I hope he goes out with a bang. And to say that he's had a great career, so he shouldn't be upset or sad that he didn't get to do or live out his dream of UFC, because he's been a very good fighter for so many years.
One of the best champions ever. For the longest time, held several records. Still holds a couple. He'll be going up against Uriah Hall, who is no slouch himself, trying to rekindle his career and get it going. Our best wishes for Anderson Silva. I really hope he gets a win on his send-off, and that would be great.
Yeah, me too.
And, hey, just on that age thing, Lauren, age is just a number. That's what Jericho says.
I know, but UFC it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of a person.
It sure does. Sure does.
If you have the right mindset, I'm sure that's probably why he's lasted for so long. So,
moving along here on the Scrambled Eggs, let's talk about another crazy wrestling accident that happened just a week ago.
Ugh.
Have you seen, Lauren, the guy that broke both legs jumping off the second rope?
I kind of watched it. I'm not a big person on watching knee injuries due to having a few knee injuries, but yes, I've heard much about it in the social media world.
Well, out there in E's and B's land, we want to hear what your thoughts are on it. If you've seen it, I watched it. It's pretty gruesome. If you have a very sour stomach or weak stomach, do not
Don't
watch
watch
it.
it.
It's bad.
It's
I
bad.
feel bad for the guy. He, from what all we know, we don't know very much about this guy, but
No.
he has no insurance and then is going to be struggling to make these payments and stuff. So I know a lot of the big name wrestlers like Jericho, one of the Young Bucks, Joey Janela, a few have came and come forward and donated to the cause. The story behind it is, he could possibly lose legs if things don't get taken care of in the right manner. So all prayers sent out to that guy. We hope you get a fast, quick recovery. I know it's going to be a long one. Just stay positive, and we hate to see stuff like that, especially in the wrestling world.
Why don't you tell them what happened, though?
Well, what happened?
For all you who don't want to watch the video.
Yeah, for you that don't want to watch, what happened was he was on the second rope facing the crowd. Well, there really wasn't a crowd. It was in the backyard.
It was in the backyard.
They call it a mud show. We'll call it a mud show. That's right. I think this was just for fun, play fun. I'm not 100% sure. The NWO music was playing, but basically he was only on the second rope, which wasn't regulation ring from what we're used to in AEW and WWE. This was a homemade ring, and I do believe he jumped from the second rope and spun around, and when he landed, things just went the wrong way. Let's put it that way. Instead of just a soft landing, his knees went in reverse, and like I said, unfortunately, it was like a extreme hyper extension.
Yeah,
it'll be a video shown for many years to come for sure.
Very easy to find if you do want to watch it, but like I said, if you don't want to watch it, completely understandable, as I didn't either. But there are ways to help this guy if you wish to do so.
Absolutely. As we wind down here, the scrambled egg segment, Lauren, last two things I want to talk about. Jake Hagar, 3-0.
Yeah.
That's right. He put it on him, got the third win. We talked a little bit about at the beginning of the show how AEW and MMA is meshing. Mm-hmm. If you watched on Wednesday night, Jake Hagar was not there at the town hall meeting. That's because he was getting ready for the fight that happened last night, and UFC. He gets his third. No, it's not UFC. Bellator.
Or it's Bellator. Okay.
He gets his third win, 3-0, and that's pretty cool. I love to see the crisscross of the two sports, and I love the fact that Bellator lets him come to AEW, do what he does, and vice versa. I love the fact that Tony Khan and AEW allow him to compete in MMA.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
pretty
he gets
cool.
The best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
Good for him.
And the last thing, Lauren, we're going to end scrambled eggs on a positive note. There's one last thing we want to focus on, and that's make sure you rock the vote.
Yep.
Lauren and I voted earlier last week. We posted the video on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Therefore, you can verify that we did vote.
That's right.
But it makes a big difference. You've got to vote. If you're eligible to vote, please vote. That way you have a say. If you're not eligible to vote, then just wait your turn. But obviously, for all the folks out there that are eligible to vote, if you don't vote, there's a saying I'm saying here at E's and B's, we don't want to hear it if you don't vote.
No.
So that's going to wrap up the scrambled egg segment, and we're going to jump straight into everybody's favorite segment. What is it, Lauren?
Toast.
It's the toast. Get out your jams, get out your jellies, your cinnamons and sugars.
Apple butter.
And spread that butter. All right, Lauren, as we're wrapping up the month of October, we've celebrated Halloween Havoc all month long. We've dove into many things. As you guys know, on Patreon, me and my homeboy Brian did a watch-along this week on 1993 Halloween Havoc. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. There's definitely going to be some laughs in there. It is a little long, but hey, who cares? If you have the spare time, go check it out, because I promise you, you'll get something out of it, plus a little bit of knowledge from 1993 that you might have forgot about. As well, Lauren, we've had several Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling interviews this month, and we all know tonight is Shocktober.
Yep, Shocktober. Woo!
I know Lauren and I are definitely pulling for Lilith and Dustin and Hazard and everybody that's been on the show, Yaden.
Yep.
We all hope everything goes down very well tonight, and we'll definitely touch on that next week and let you know if anything has changed in the Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling world.
I'm sure some
also
switch up.
Stay tuned next Friday, as Jumbo Zamari is going to be on the show live Also, the following week, we're going to have our first ever, Lauren, co-host. That's right. It's co-host month in November for Rees and Bees. We're going to have a lot of special things. We'll have the champion Dustin Urich on the second week of November to co-host from beginning to end with me. We'll talk sports, we'll talk breakfast, and a lot of wrestling, that's for sure. Also, going along in November, we will have the merchandise store up. Lauren, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's pretty close to being up and running now. So in November, just in time for the holidays, we should have shirts, hoodies, some other gear I think are in the works. Definitely a lot of shirts and
hopefully some beanies,
and some hoodies and beanies, and your typical stuff you would find on a online store. So we're really excited that that's now something that is in progress. So
amen. And just like she said, just in time for the holidays. So if you have a wrestling fan out there that you're not sure what to get them, hey, why not the best breakfast wrestling podcast around? That's right, E's and B's podcast.
Yeah.
And it'll be affordable, I promise you that.
Yeah, it's not going to be outrageous. So
well, with that, Lauren, like I said, we got a lot of cool, crazy things coming up in November.
Yeah.
But as we wind the show down, Lauren, I want you to go ahead and give out your shout-outs and let everybody know about some things that you got going for the end of the month here.
Yay, okay. Shout-outs. So we do have a couple reminders. On our webpage, we did post links to where you can go to breast cancer awareness. As it's winding down the month of October, we all know October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there's a link on our page to that. You can donate there, look for resources, as well as many people don't know. We touched about it at the beginning of the month, but October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There is also a link there for, I believe it's the help hotline for domestic violence. If you click on that link, you can find resources, numbers, and a lot of good information for people who are experiencing domestic violence. It has been something that is starting to get out of control, and not very many people talk about it. So very important to spread the word, spread the news. It's not a number we want to see rise. So let's everybody be aware.
Like she said, it'll be on the page, easy access.
We'll probably leave it up at least for another month, if not longer, just because I think it's that important. But we will be taking down the breast cancer awareness one. We might leave it up for a couple more weeks.
And also, don't forget, Lauren has also posted on our page the Red Cross.
Yes.
For all the people out here out in Colorado and California. Where any fires may be.
As well as the people on the East Coast who have experienced hurricanes. So we just posted basically the Red Cross for everywhere. Donate there. We've donated, and everyone we know, we've gotten them to donate as well. Even $1 helps.
Absolutely.
We know a lot of people who haven't been able to get pretty much, anything. They've lost everything in fires, or been evacuated. They don't have access to their home, their mail. It's a mess right now. So they need help. Please reach out and help out if you can. It does not go unappreciated. Another shout out I want to give is we have some new listeners from across the pond. Yay!
We always love new listeners. Spread the word. Spread the jelly. Spread the gravy. Give it all away.
Yes.
We love new listeners.
So a few new listeners we've reached as far as Dublin, Ireland, Moscow, Russia, Aberdeen, Scotland, and I think it's Islington, England. It's either Islington or Islington.
Awesome.
Sure it's Islington. But thank you for listening. Again, spread the word. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Find us anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcasts.
And if you want us early and often, don't forget, go to our Patreon page where you can get all early access to all of our content before anybody else. And just like tonight when we did the giveaway for Halloween, We always do unboxing giveaways every month, and you can get early access and maybe win those items before anybody else.
And before anybody knows about them, they drop at least 48 hours before they go anywhere else online. So always find us there on Patreon as well. I believe that's all I have to say.
All
Happy
right.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween to all you folks out there. Like I
Be
said,
safe,
we love you
be
all.
Smart.
Thank you so much for listening. And always don't forget to eat your breakfast. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you in November.